This is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. We are all in tonight with Alexandra Levine. We have breaking news, everybody. One of the former congressmen from Florida, he was District 6. He was my governor, Ron DeSantis, he took over the spot for him. Now it's Randy Fine's position. He was removed today as NSA director. As you know, he was appointed by President Trump. You do not have to go through confirmation or committee to be the NSA director. He was automatically appointed by President Trump. He was removed today with what I have understood and have heard from different reporting that the deputy chief of staff for him and the majority of the top heads of the staff for Michael Waltz was removed from their positions. Some of them were even fired. As you know, there was a huge scandal with Signalgate with his deputy chief of staff, Alex Wong. But from what I've been gathering is that there was some drama with the NSA even before Signalgate with Michael Waltz. I would say the assessment was that he wasn't really doing the job, that he wasn't cleaning out the swamp or draining the swamp like President Trump wanted. And that was basically a cause for removal. As you know, President Trump, sometimes he gives a person a chance. If the person doesn't do their job, he brings them in and he's like, look, what the heck is this? And if they're not improving in the next month or so, or the next 6 months or whatever, you're fired. But as we've said on this network many, many times, that President Trump is not going to deal with people being in there that are not loyal to him, that he cannot trust. And his NSA director has to be somebody that he can trust and that there's closeness with. So as a result of this, Michael Waltz has been removed and he's been placed into being appointed as the new U.S. ambassador to the UN. Now, as you remember, a Congresswoman, Elise Stefanik, she was first appointed and she was waiting for the Senate to fully confirm her. The reason that she decided to step away from the role is because we have such a slim majority in the House of Representatives. And we know that Governor Kathy Hochul was trying to do everything she could to put a Democrat in there to replace Elise Stefanik. So President Trump didn't want to take that risk. And he said to Elise Stefanik, I know you're going through this confirmation. I would love for you to be the UN ambassador, but we really need to keep the majority in the House. And we want you to continue being the congresswoman in your district of New York. So she said, no problem, Mr. President, no problem. So she withdrew. And now Michael Waltz, who I wholeheartedly believe will be fully confirmed to this new position as the U.S. ambassador to the UN. But of course, the mainstream media, they went, ape over this. And immediately, Politico and fake news and CNN and the New York Times and the Washington Post and all those big outlets were like, he was fired. Michael Waltz was fired. Alex Wong was fired. They're all leaving. He's done. Peace. They immediately just jumped the gun and said that Michael Waltz was completely fired. And a lot of people believe that. Even Fox News first reported that as well. That's why our outlet, America's Pulse Network, we are part of the new conservative media at the White House. We report things as they come. What we do is we do not jump the gun. We wait till we get all the facts as much as possible. And there's still some facts that are coming through as I'm currently live reporting. And once we get the real facts in, we put them out there. So I did not jump the gun in my reporting, even on social media, saying, oh, Michael Waltz was fired, he's done. Now, a lot of people question, why wasn't he completely fired? Why is he moving as the U.S. ambassador to the UN? Why didn't President Trump just get rid of him completely? That's a good question. That's a really good question. I can tell you that Laura Loomer was with President Trump a month ago. She explained to him some of the people that President Trump has appointed or hired, and she has showed them videos of past things that these people have said about President Trump. A lot of them were not good things. And she also connected the dots on the ties of some of these people that Michael Waltz hired. Now, first, when you get to a cabinet position, the State Department usually hires, or Michael Waltz will hire his own people first. And some of the times, those people are not heavily vetted. So Laura Loomer is trying to do her job as much as possible to vet these people and present them to President Trump and say, President Trump, these are the people that you have hired, but they may not be the right people. And as a result, I believe, and many others believe, that a lot of those people in the NSA were fired because of Laura Loomer. And I do believe that Michael Waltz was removed because of evidence that Laura Loomer brought to the president of the United States, but also just the department in general. We also have DOJ. DOJ is working with different states. He's working with the DOJ, the FBI. DOJ goes in there and sees who's doing the job and who's not. And of course, everyone's freaking out that all these federal employees are getting fired. But again, we have to understand who is getting fired. People that are incompetent, people that have consistently dissed the president of the United States on their social medias, on their personal social medias, and their federal employee accounts, but also people that aren't willing to come into the office, people that like to work remotely and not want to really do the work. And DOJ, Elon Musk, looks at these people's portfolios. He looks at the NSA, the DOJ, the FBI, and the CIA, and he can determine who's doing the job and who's not. I have friends that work at Fort Meade, that's NSA. They're very concerned about their jobs. And I say to them, well, have you posted anything negative about President Trump on your social media? Is your portfolio good? Do you look, does everything look, good? Have you done the work? I know you've gotten raises. You must have gotten a raise because you did a good job at your work. But again, we have to ask ourselves, why are these people getting fired? The majority of them are getting fired because they don't do the job. They don't do their work. They don't want to come to work. And they're all DEI hires. And remember, under executive order, President Trump said no more DEI hires. And he also said, get rid of all these people that are in favor of illegal criminals in this country. And again, you have 18 attorney generals that are suing President Trump that are combating this. Pam Bondi, Attorney General, her job is to go in there and literally charge these states sue these states and charge these attorney generals and any elected official that combats her. And she's been doing that job. As you know, she sued the state of New York. She sued the state of Illinois. She charged the mayors. She charged the governors of these states. She charged Letitia James in New York, Alvin Bragg. And Letitia James is in a lot of trouble. So this is really important. This is really important that we make sure that we have the right people in power, the right people in office, but also whoever President Trump picks as his NSA director, it's got to be something that's loyal. So now that Michael Waltz is going to be the new U.S. ambassador to the UN, Secretary of State Marco Rubio has taken the position as interim NSA director. That hasn't happened since the presidency of Richard Nixon. That was Henry Kissinger's job. He was the Secretary of State, and then he was also the interim NSA director. So that's history right then and there. And my question to my audience is, who do you want as President Trump's NSA director? A lot of people are saying bring General Michael Flynn back. A lot of people are saying, they're just throwing out names. But again, whoever his NSA director is, in my opinion, should be somebody that is extremely loyal to President Trump, someone that wants to do the job, that wants to drain the swamp, that wants to clean out the swamp. It's very, very, very important that we have someone that President Trump can trust. It's very, very important. And there was one guy on social media, he said, Michael Waltz just got the soft exit, shuffled off to the UN, because the UN is in New York, so he's out of the White House. He's in New York. His butt is going to be in New York, with a handshake and a title. Meanwhile, Marco Rubio, Secretary of State, steps in to clean up the mess, because there was a mess at the NSA, and Michael Waltz was not doing his job. From what I've heard, from what I've been reported on, from what people have said to me, they said the NSA is a mess, and Michael Waltz didn't really do his job very well. And the guy also said, you move the piece, don't flip the board. Because as you know, President Trump is a master chess player. So that's what's happening, guys. That's what's happening. That is breaking news. So now we're going into the first 100 days. As we know, we just celebrated the first 100 days on April 29th. Very historic. President Trump had a huge rally in Michigan. And it was a huge rally with thousands and thousands of people. And I can tell you some of the first 100 days that he's done, some of the first things that he's done in the first 100 days is he signed the Lincoln-Riley Act. As you know, Lincoln Riley was brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant. He designated English as the official language of the United States. He's pushing the SAVE Act law, which requires real IDs in order to vote. And also, the biggest thing, it's not removing the voter rolls or trying to find the illegals out of the voter rolls. That's not how you fix election integrity. It's a concept. It's a very important concept that a man named William Newton actually created. He archived, he researched. All of his research has been archived in state GOPs nationwide. You can go to Maryland 2020 W Watch and read all of William Newton's research. But the concept is, and William Newton, he actually tagged it, coined it, hashtagged it, incorporated it, is corrupt internal election personnel. It's corrupt internal election personnel. That's what the SAVE Act law really needs to focus on, is the corrupt internal election personnel. If that is not focused, then everything else, it doesn't make sense. It doesn't matter. It doesn't exist. You can't just focus on erasing the voter rolls. The main crux of election integrity, this was created and archived by William Newton, but it is actually 100% true, is corrupt internal election personnel. Remember, it's not who votes, it's who counts the votes. It's your mailmans. Your mailmans do corrupt internal election personnel. We saw that in 2020. We saw that in other elections as well. There's corrupt internal election personnel that goes into voter fraud, and it goes into hurting the election process so we don't have free and fair elections. And that is the truth. Also, President Trump, he made do with his campaign promise of removing illegal criminals from our country. He's revoking student visas for pro-Hamas students. That's what Secretary of State Marco Rubio is doing. He removed federal funding for schools that support pro-Hamas rallies and calls for genocide of Jews and Christians. And additionally, he has done so much in regards to getting rid of DEI. He has said if any federal worker employee has their pronouns, they're automatically fired. He also wants to eradicate the IRS. He also wants to actually remove the Federal Reserve to lower the inflation. And of course, he is focusing on no tax on tips, no tax on overtime. He's fixing our Medicare system. He's fixing the healthcare system with RFK Jr. coming in and getting rid of all the synthetic colors and dyes out of our food. It's so good for us. When you're eating clean, your skin looks better, your hair looks better, everything looks better. A lot of people have health problems and allergies because of the chemicals and the dyes that are in our food. I went to Europe. I've lived in Europe. I've performed in Europe. My skin never looked better because everything there is clean. RFK Jr. wants to bring the concept of Spain into the United States by having clean water, clean air, clean environment, and getting the crap out of our food. And Marco Rubio said, he's like, I'm questioning what I'm eating now because I never really knew this crap that was in the food until RFK Jr. put it out there. And of course, as you know, President Trump has gutted out the Department of Education, and he wants to have education back to the states. And he wants everyone to be able to be taught history as it is. He wants to get rid of the CRT, the gender identity, the woke culture. And he's also passed bills state to state to make sure that men are out of women's sports and that men are out of women's bathrooms, first and foremost. Where I'm still hearing these reports, especially in Maryland, of a guy who thinks he's a woman thinks he wants to be a woman that day. He goes into a woman's bathroom and he does salacious things in front of the mothers and the girls in the bathrooms. It's disgusting. It's disgusting that it's still going on. I'm in Montgomery County. There was a huge rally today against Elon Musk and President Trump. Fighting oligarchy, the stupid rallies that are going on nationwide with AOC and Bernie Sanders. Again, the Democrats have no message. Their message is to fight Elon Musk and to fight President Trump. It's stupid. Or their message is, let's bring that an illegal MS-13 gang member back to America. Let's bring him back. Even after his wife filed a temporary peace order because he was literally beating her almost to a pulp. Craziness. But this is what's important. This is what's important in the first 100 days. Again, President Trump has kept his promises. He said he was going to do a lot of stuff. He's done more in the first 100 days than any president has done in the whole 4 years of office. I mean, President Trump is kicking butt. He's kicking butt. And again, he was at this huge rally in Michigan. We're going to bring up the first slide where he talks about taking back our country. Slide 1. Well, I don't have slide 1. Oh, here we go. At POTUS, we're taking back our country from a sick political class that got rich selling America out and bleeding America dry. After decades of politicians who destroyed Detroit to build up Beijing, you finally have a champion for workers in the White House. And instead of putting China first, I'm putting Michigan first, and I'm putting America first. That was the line of the night, that he was not only putting Michigan first, but he was putting you, the American worker, first, the American first. And then the second slide, Trump puts out, there we go. At POTUS, in 100 days, we have delivered the most profound change in Washington in nearly 100 years. We're ushering out the long reign of the special interests and the radical left lunatics, and we are ushering in the golden age of America. He's so right about that. He is so right about that. We're getting rid of the radical left, who really don't have a voice, who really don't have a say. Like I said, their message is insane and ridiculous. And he's positioning us to be a better America. And now we have the third slide where he says, for years, Joe Biden and the media told us that stopping the flood of illegal immigration was absolutely impossible. But it turned out that all we needed was a new president. And he actually said that during his presidential address. I want to thank my good friend, border czar Thomas Homan, for the great work that he has done for combating all of these illegal criminals and getting them out of our country. I want to commend Secretary of DHS, Kristi Noem, former governor of South Dakota, for combating this illegal immigration and for listening to we the people. I want to thank them for getting rid of all of these illegals, taking them back to El Salvador, back to Guatemala, back to Honduras, back to Mexico, wherever they're from, because they were killing innocent Americans. They were raping them, sex trafficking them, drug trafficking them. I mean, the fentanyl in this country is ridiculous. And there's millions and millions and millions of illegal criminals that live in the United States. There's millions of illegal terrorists here. And one by one, day by day, hour by hour, city by city, state by state, Thomas Homan and Kristi Noem are pulling them out. They're literally pulling them out every single day. And if you see an illegal criminal, or if you feel that there's illegal terrorists in your area, reach out to ICE, reach out to DHS. They are literally just a phone call, a text message, a tweet away. They will come service you if you feel that you are not safe. Don't allow illegal criminals to take over your city and your state. The issue is we have too many sanctuary cities and sanctuary states in America. We need to get rid of that. And those sanctuary cities and sanctuary states have the highest level of crime. That's where you have a lot of shenanigans in the elections, but also that's where a lot of innocent people get murdered. And what bothers me is that a lot of those stories are buried. Instead of the lawmakers going to the victims' families, they favor the illegal criminal. We saw that with Senator Chris Van Hollen. We've seen that with so many other Democratic lawmakers going to El Salvador to try to bring back an illegal MS-13 gang member. This reporter from ABC News, again, a fake news organization, said to President Trump, oh, the picture that you showed us of Kilmar with the MS-13 gang member tattoo was photoshopped. President Trump's like, it's not photoshopped. This is his hand. You're still supporting this guy? You cannot admit that he is an MS-13 gang member? The fake news is all about, oh, he needs due process. Due process? He's an illegal living in this country. He was an illegal living in an illegal criminal. In March 2025, President Trump deemed MS-13 a domestic terrorist organization. That means you are an illegal terrorist living in America. Your visa's revoked, your green card's revoked. You go back to your respected country. That's what happened in Columbia University. That's why to do rallies for these people, to support Kilmar Garcia, to support the illegal student from Columbia University who started pro-Hamas rallies in Columbia universities. To do rallies for these people, to support them is asinine, and you are on the side of evil. And if you're a politician that supports that, you should be voted out. You should be removed from office immediately and removed from your committees. To support that is going against America. To support that is going against the oath that you took for office. You put Americans first. If you are a senator or a congressman that serves the United States of America, that serves we the people, If you don't serve we the people, you should be ousted yourself. You should remove yourself from office. And you should go to jail for breaking the law. Harvesting illegals is illegal. And Thomas Holman and Kristi Noem will come and they will arrest you for breaking the law. Thomas Holman's like, I'm not dealing with this. This is crazy and asinine. I'm not dealing with this. Some nerve of these lawmakers to combat the law. I really hope to God that we get some proper people to primary these people out, or we get some good, strong Republicans that can flip the seats. Because the American people need to know these lawmakers that continuously F the American people or stab a knife in their backs. The fact that Chris Van Hollen used your money, taxpayer dollars, to go to El Salvador, he should be writing everyone in Maryland a check. I hope that AIPAC is looking to replace him. I know AIPAC has, they're very liberal, but they like to primary out senators and congressmen that are anti-Israel, that are formed and funded by terrorist organizations. Chris Van Hollen is funded by J Street, which is an anti-Semitic group. Ilhan Omar, Rashida Tlaib, they're formed and funded by anti-Semitic groups. These people should be ousted. Unacceptable. Unacceptable. There was a reporter that asked Congresswoman Ilhan Omar, I think today or yesterday, what do you feel about Kilmar Garcia? How do you feel about Democratic congressmen and senators going over there? And do you know what she told the guy? You can F off. That's how a congresswoman responds to a reporter. I don't care if you're on the hill or off the hill. You're a congresswoman. You don't speak that way. That's disgusting. But her constituents need to know. That's how she talks to people. That's how she talks to people that she, quote, doesn't like. She didn't even look at the reporter's face. She just said F off. That's appropriate behavior as a congresswoman? That's the decorum that you want on the Hill? She was removed from the House Foreign Affairs Committee, Baruch Hashem. But it's not enough. She believes in Somalia first, so send her butt back there. That's what she believes and that's what she loves. Send her butt back there. I swear, I've #had enough of these elected officials getting away with breaking the law, combating President Trump on every turn, when they actually know that his policies are working. They just want to cause strife. They just want to, I'm going to curse. They just want to bitch about something. Because they know that they don't have a message. And President Trump, he said this quote at the rally. He said, Democrats have vowed mass evasion. Let's see the last slide. There we go. Democrats have vowed mass invasion and mass migration. We're delivering mass deportation. That's the line right then and there. He's delivering. He's delivering for the people with the Lincoln Riley Act and so forth. Again, he said Democrats have vowed mass invasion, which is true. Under Joe Biden, again, we had millions and millions of illegal criminals coming in this country. Same thing under Kamala Harris. Kamala Harris was supposed to be the, quote, border czar. Yeah, right. We saw what kind of border czar she was. We saw. Insane woman. She didn't care. And we've had Democratic governors, rhino governors, that have brought illegal terrorists into their state, and they don't care. And they've kept their states and their cities, sanctuary states and sanctuary cities. It's disgusting. It's disgusting. But that's what's happening. That's what's happening. So what do you do with elected officials like that? You get rid of them. Meaning you vote them out. They commit crimes. They break the law. They go to jail. Do not pass go. Do not collect $200. But President Trump has done a lot in the first 100 days. We all need to acknowledge that. I've talked to Democrats and independents that acknowledge it as well. They're very happy with the work that President Trump has done. And they know that he's going to continue to make it better in the future. A lot of people have talked about having President Trump stay the president for another term. That would have to change the whole Constitution if that were to happen. But a lot of people feel that the only person that can really implement President Trump's agenda is President Trump and his children, of course. And J.D. Vance is doing a great job as VP, but he's not President Trump. There's only one President Trump. It's very hard to fill that man's shoes. It's very hard to even come close to being the man. He has a certain charisma about him, a certain style. I understand his thinking. I understand how he's feeling. We cannot deny that the policies that he's putting into place are working for we the people, and they're going to continue to work. I know there's a lot of people that are impatient. They wish that there was arrests happening, more people getting fired. I will remind everybody, President Trump was inaugurated on January 20th of 2025. That's not even 4 months. He hasn't even been there 4 months. And remember, his official cabinet wasn't fully confirmed until the end of February. So they've only been there for a few months. They're just getting started. I know Pam Bondi is doing a lot. She's got a lot on her plate. Now, Secretary of State Marco Rubio, he's got a lot more on his plate as the interim NSA director. Pete Hegseth is doing a great job at the Pentagon. That's why I feel that so many people are trying to combat him and get rid of him because he's doing such a great job. I wholeheartedly believe, and others believe, that some of the people that were working at the NSA that no longer work there were trying to conspire against Pete Hegseth and get him removed because of the greatness that he's doing in getting rid of all the wokeness and bringing people back into the military that were forced out because they didn't take the jabs. That's not fair to them. There's some great people I know that lost their jobs because they didn't take the jabs. And now they're getting a second or third chance. And these are some great people. These are some very skilled people. They're getting rid of the DEI hires, and they're putting in qualified people based on merit to do the job. That's what's important here. Don't you guys want qualified people working with President Trump? And look at Stephen Miller. I love Stephen Miller. I've loved Stephen Miller since 2015. He has been a loyal supporter and a loyalist to President Trump from the beginning. I was so happy when President Trump got back into the White House because I knew Stephen Miller was coming back. And he is kicking butt. You cannot combat him on the law. You cannot combat him on illegal immigration. He will shut you down. He even said to the fake news media at the White House, I don't understand why you guys continuously obsess about this MS-13 illegal criminal. Why you want him back in this country so badly. It's sick. Why? And he said, why aren't you guys reporting fairly? Why aren't you guys giving President Trump any credit for the good things that he's done? Instead of reporting fake news, instead of just reporting negative story after negative story after negative story, why don't you say something positive about the man? Is it so hard? Is it so beneath you to say something nice about him? As I've stated before, we are not the fake news media. We are not mainstream media. We are the new conservative media at the White House. We will report fairly and we will report honestly. And I can tell you, President Trump is doing a hell of a job. And Stephen Miller and Susie Summerall-Wiles and the heads of his cabinet, they're doing a great job. And Michael Waltz, he'll do a good job as the U.S. ambassador to the UN. He will. He's a big supporter of Israel. You need someone in that position as a big supporter of Israel. Elise Stefanik is a huge supporter of Israel. That's why I feel she originally got the position, because of how she stood up against those liberal presidents and deans at these liberal colleges. But like I said, Michael Waltz will be in New York. He'll stay in New York. He'll be away from the White House. He won't have the same privileges that he had before. It's definitely a different job. And President Trump will put someone in there that will get the job done. And coming up after the break, we're going to be discussing, again, combating anti-Semitism. As you know, that's my strong suit. That's me. So coming back right after the break.
Old home videotapes that you're no longer able to watch? Need them transferred to DVD, Blu-ray, or your smart device? Baltimore Digital offers professional-grade VHS, mini DV, and high 8 digitizing services. We can also convert Super 8mm film too. Baltimore Digital also provides photo restoration services. Visit archive.baltimoredigital.net. Mention code Alexandra for a 10% introduction.
And hello, everyone. We are back. This is Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. The second segment is combating anti-Semitism and calling out the left. There we go. Next slide. Doug Emhoff lashes out after President Trump removes him from the Holocaust Memorial Council. Emhoff took to social media to slam the administration, saying it was turning, quote, one of the worst atrocities in history into a wedge issue. So, of course, all the Democrat, leftist, socialists were combating President Trump on this, saying, how could you get rid of Doug Emhoff? He's Jewish. He's part of the Holocaust Memorial Council. His family survived the Holocaust. How could you do this? Oh, you're just an anti-Semite, President Trump. You just hate Jews. You're going after him because he's Jewish. No. First of all, Doug Emhoff has done absolutely nothing to combat anti-Semitism. Doug Emhoff has done nothing to push Holocaust education into the schools. He's done nothing to talk or work with Holocaust survivors. He's done nothing to encourage schools to send their students to Holocaust museums and memorials. So this was a good move on President Trump's part. Excuse me, let me correct for the record. This was a great move on President Trump's part. Because Doug Emhoff, even though he's, quote, Jewish, I have come up with a hashtag sign. So is the organization I work with, Jexit Inc. Doug Emhoff is hashtag not my Jew, hashtag not a true Jew, hashtag not a real Jew. And that is the truth. Same thing with Bernie Sanders and Chuck Schumer. I was talking to my father today. He says, Chuck Schumer must be the most stupidest person I've ever seen or heard in my life. He said, he's really stupid. These people are stupid. Doug Emhoff is stupid. Look at his daughter. His daughter is disgusting. His daughter was going and funding Hamas. That's what she was doing. She gave money to UNRWA. UNRWA is responsible for October 7th. Doug Emhoff never acknowledged or never recognized the horrific event on October 7th. He never mentioned that the women were murdered, burned, tortured, and raped. Same thing with the men. He never said to his wife, Kamala, hey, why don't you think about bringing the American hostages back? Why don't you try to bring all the hostages back? Yeah, he's so Jewish. Please. He gives Jewish people a bad name. And I'll call leftist, socialist, Jewish people out all day and all night. I will call out Adam Schiff. I will call out Debbie Wasserman Schultz. I will call out Jamie Raskin, Jerry Nadler, Richard Blumenthal. These are all Jewish Democrats in Congress. Dianne Feinstein, she was a former senator. She was terrible. None of these Jewish lawmakers that are Democrats have done anything to combat anti-Semitism or push Holocaust or Israel education, which is my life's work. I've spoken in Annapolis about this. I've spoken about this in Florida and other states and in Pennsylvania to implement mandatory Holocaust and Israel education in all 50 states, K through 12. You can teach a kindergartner about the Holocaust, but you do it in a manner where it's not horrific. I've called the Holocaust Museum here in DC. They want to bring students here for a tour. Governor Westmore, Maryland is not interested. There's lawmakers in Annapolis that are not interested. They don't want to put the funds into that. I know so many Holocaust survivors that would love to come to the schools, but the schools don't want to pay for it. They don't want to pay for Holocaust survivors to come and speak. It's disgusting. They don't want to pay buses to take the kids to Holocaust museums or Holocaust memorials. It's disgusting. I cannot believe it. I cannot believe it. But let's push DEI and critical race theory and gender identity into schools. Let's push that curriculum. It's disgusting. Again, I call upon the Jewish organizations to work together to combat anti-Semitism. Look what's happening in Maryland. I think it was today. And for 3 days, they're having this whole pro-Palestinian, pro-Hamas rally. For 3 days. Why is the school board allowing this? Why is the state of Maryland allowing this? And it's like every pro-Hamas group alive. It's Jewish Voices for Peace that is putting this together. They're combating what Marco Rubio is doing by revoking the visas of these terrorists that cause havoc on college campuses. There's still a bunch of pro-Hamas rallies happening on college campuses today in liberal states. I encourage people to go to those rallies, get people's names, get their numbers, take pictures of their faces, report it to ICE, report it to DHS, report it to Pam Bondi, report it to Secretary of State Marco Rubio. Let's get these people the hell out of our country. There's too many illegal terrorists in this country, as I said in my earlier segment, especially in the state of Maryland. We have illegal Syrian and illegal Afghan refugees that live in Maryland, particularly Montgomery County, which is one of my residencies. Howard County, they have HOCO Free Palestine. It's a huge hashtag Free Palestine group. And who backs it? CARE, which is a terrorist organization formed and funded by the Muslim Brotherhood. Muslim Brotherhood is a terrorist organization based out of Egypt. And CARE's headquarters are right here in Washington, D.C. They have teachers in Montgomery County that are associated with CARE that teach the kids there. They're teaching them anti-Israel stuff and pro-Hamas stuff. They're teaching propaganda. Get these teachers out of the school system. Revoke their teaching certificates. When you put political bias into the classroom, it causes strife. When I went to school, I went to Riverview High School as a part of the International Baccalaureate program. I had teachers there that were very politically biased. I had a history teacher that told the students that former Prime Minister Ariel Sharon was a terrorist, and she compared him to Yasser Arafat, who actually was a terrorist. And there was Jewish people in my class too, but they were Jewish Democrats, liberal, and they supported what this crazy teacher was saying. And I said to this teacher, like, what are you saying? You can't compare Yasser Arafat to Ariel Sharon. Well, what the heck? What's going on here? And the teacher said to me afterwards, I loved the debate. I loved that we had differences. Well, because of her, I lost a lot of friends in that classroom because they believed her narrative over mine, and mine was the truth. I went home and told my father and my mother about it. My father was on that phone immediately to her and to the school board and to the principal. The principal actually had the teacher retract her false statements and write me an apology. There's a lot of bullying that goes on into the schools as well. But who starts the bullying? It's the teachers. I was actually bullied by a teacher in high school. Another teacher that was a part of the International Baccalaureate program. He taught history. He said some very anti-Semitic things to me. And the kids laughed in class. I remember I was 14, 15 years old. I had braces. We went to the Salvador Dali Museum. Salvador Dali is a very famous painter. And I dressed very nice that day. I didn't wear jeans to the museum. I wore a beautiful pair of black capri pants with a beautiful it was a purple capri pants with a beautiful purple sparkly top that my mother picked out for me. She bought that outfit for me at Dillard's. And my mother put my hair half up and half down with curls. And I was wearing a little bit of makeup. I wore makeup back then. I was in stage. And I wore braces. And I fell asleep on the bus. And I started to drool a little bit. So what did the teacher do? He took that opportunity in that moment to constantly bully me on the bus and to say that Alexandra doesn't know the difference between a Jew and an Italian. Alexandra's having a drooling good time. Look at her drool over there, like she's a baby. Do we need to give her a pacifier? I didn't know any of this until I woke up and my best friend told me that the teacher was egging me on the whole time on the bus while I was sleeping. And as a result, I didn't have as many friends as I would have liked to in that grade of high school. It actually wasn't until I left the International Baccalaureate program that I got more friends. I had teachers that were more respectable. An International Baccalaureate program was supposed to be like the top of the top. It was supposed to teach us how to do well in college. We were supposed to have the cream of the crop type of students in that program. But I don't blame the students. I blame the teachers. I blame the teachers for what they did to me and what they did to other students that were trying to get the truth out. That's why it's very important who we have as our teacher. It's very important that we vet our teacher. My mother's a teacher. She loves teaching. She's afraid that if she leaves teaching, some woke teacher will come in there and ruin the goodness that she's put into the students' heads. My mother doesn't get political in the classroom. My mother's very neutral. My mother teaches something called Ace General. It's a history class. It's very advanced classes. It's like honors. She'll have the kids analyze a speech that Obama gave and a speech that Trump gave. That's what you call neutral in the classroom. If she just focused on an Obama speech or a Joe Biden speech, that's political bias. But my mother gives the students the opportunity to analyze a Trump speech and to analyze an Obama speech, or to analyze a Biden speech and a Trump speech, and to analyze debates as well, and even to analyze a Hillary Clinton speech and a Donald Trump speech. That's the proper way of teaching. Also, my mother wants to make sure that her children don't fail her class. If they're struggling in school, she says, what can I do to help you? How can I help you? If they're struggling in her class, she sees them after school and does everything she can to make sure that that child doesn't fail. That's a real teacher. But my mother doesn't push critical race theory in school and gender identity. Now, thank God she's a teacher in the state of Florida, so they don't believe in that crap. But there's teachers' unions that were pushing a lot of that. There was teachers' unions that were combating my governor, Ron DeSantis, forcing the kids to wear masks in school and taking the jabs. Thank God my governor went up to the Third Circuit Court of Appeals and won that case, because what they were doing was illegal. But you have POSs that are in Congress, that are in the Senate, that are second ladies or second men to the vice president, that will continuously combat President Trump on every turn and on his agenda. And it's not right. It's not right at all. And this just shows you a radical congressman, and we'll put this one up. This is by Cat Turd, this slide. It says, what a POS. Let's put up that slide. There it goes. My friend Cat Turd. What a POS. Me, Congressman Shiri Thanader. And I actually have people that want to primary him out and people that want to run against him. The man leading efforts to impeach President Trump. And the guy looks like a woman, by the way. He's got like the worst wig ever. In 2010, Shiri Thanader owned an animal testing lab where more than 170 beagles and monkeys were left behind after his company filed for bankruptcy. The animals previously used for the laboratory, and there's more to that story. So they actually showed the owner of that lab, of that animal lab, and she talked in full detail about what happened under Shiri Thanader and how the animals were treated so poorly and they were so abused that and Shiri had to file bankruptcy because of the abuse that he did to these animals. That's someone that we have to take seriously, that wants to impeach President Trump, a guy that literally has a disgusting rug on his head, who looks like a woman. That's who we're dealing with. And even some moderate Democrats are like, it's not going to go anywhere. Shut this down. Stop trying to impeach President Trump. For what? What are we impeaching him for? For what? They're impeaching him because they don't like him. Because he's actually doing the job. Oh, they're impeaching him because he removed a illegal MS-13 gang member out of our country. That's why they impeach him. I mean, it's craziness. It is craziness. I don't get it. I don't understand it. I mean, I do. But it's like, if you hate President Trump so much, get out of our country. Move. You know what? We will pack your bags and we will pay for your ticket out of here. Or we'll have the government pay for your ticket out of here instead of we the people. President Trump only wants people around him and people in certain positions that care about we the people. Doug Emhoff did not care about implementing Holocaust education into schools. He didn't care about combating anti-Semitism when his wife was, quote, the vice president. What did he do? He was cool with pro-Hamas rallies going on in college universities. Where was he to speak out about this? He was okay with Columbia University starting havoc, okay with Harvard University, okay with NYU, okay with UPenn, okay with MIT doing this, Johns Hopkins, GW, Georgetown University. All these liberal colleges had rise of anti-Semitism. He was okay with colleges passing BDS resolutions. Thank God I went to Towson University and combated that. Doug Emhoff wasn't there. Where the hell was he? MIA. Where was his voice? Where was his mouth to tell his daughter, do not give money to UNRWA? They worked with the terrorists. They worked with Hamas to kill innocent people on October 7th. Why would he allow his daughter to do this? Why would he allow his daughter to walk out and look the way she does? She doesn't shave her armpits. She looks like a man. I don't think she wears perfume. She's disgusting. His son is disgusting. The whole family's disgusting. But he's upset, and Jewish Democrats are upset that he was removed from the Holocaust Memorial Council. He knows why he was removed. Again, he just wants to cause noise. Same thing with this stupid Congressman, Shiri Thander. He knows that if he tries to impeach President Trump, it's not going to go anywhere. The Republicans have control of the House of Representatives and the U.S. Senate. It's crazy to even bring articles of impeachment. For what? Impeach him for what? Because Donald Trump's hair is better than yours? Because Donald Trump is a better man than you are? Because Donald Trump actually does his job, as opposed to you, who's wasting your constituents' money? You're wasting your constituents' time. Actually, you're using your constituents' money, I should say, to write these stupid articles of impeachment. But you're wasting taxpayer dollars, and I was right. You're wasting your constituents' dollars on impeachment crap. Impeachment for what? You should be impeached. Impeached for your stupidity. Impeached for your bad rug. Impeached for being an idiot. I hope that somebody primaries you out. I hope that a Republican comes in there and replaces you. I know that there's people trying to primary you out right now. You're a terrible congressman and you do nothing but sit there and, I'm going to curse again, bitch and complain about Donald Trump. You have major Trump derangement syndrome. Major. And again, the American people have hashtag had enough. I've talked to a lot of moderate Democrats that are going to be switching parties. They're going to be hashtag exiting the Democrat Party, going to the Republican Party because they've hashtag had enough of the crazy asinine people that are in the Democrat Party. They don't want AOC and Bernie Sanders as the front runners of their party. We don't want these socialist, quote, progressives ahead of the Democrat Party. Hell no. The Democrats don't want it. The more that AOC is out there with Bernie Sanders, it makes the Republican Party much stronger. You're going to put up a AOC and a Bernie Sanders to run for office? The only way they can win is if they cheat. Remember, corrupt internal election personnel. That's how these people cheat. Corrupt internal election personnel. That is the key. That is the tagline. That's the hashtag. That's the facts. It is unbelievable. Unbelievable what these Democrats do to make noise. Chuck Schumer, stupid idiot. He says, we will stop the SAVE Act law. We'll make sure that it doesn't go into law. We'll make sure that we don't get the 60 votes for it. which means that he loves that illegals are voting in our elections because that's the only way he can win. He's afraid that if we get rid of the illegals that are voting and the 17-year-olds and the 16-year-olds that continue to vote, that we'll actually have free and fair elections. Oh my God. No, he loves the cheating. He loves it. He prides himself on it. And there's a lot of illegals that live in New York, a lot. That's why Pam Bondi sued the state. That's why she charged Kathy Hochul, the governor, Letitia James, Alvin Bragg, and so forth. They're the causes of this. Chuck Schumer's the cause of this too. He supports this crap. He supports pro-Hamas groups. And he's Jewish. He says, he's like, I love Israel. I pay for the tree of life in Israel. He's like, I've done so much for Israel. Oh, really? You do so much for Israel, but yet you won't sign to reverse the Iran nuclear deal. You won't even acknowledge October 7th. You won't even acknowledge that women were raped, murdered, tortured, burned, that babies were beheaded. You won't acknowledge that. And you don't want a requirement, I should say, of real IDs to use at the airport, to vote, so forth. That's sick. You won't even work with DHS on this. In your opinion, it's okay for illegals to continue to vote and live in this country. Again, you harvest illegals, you should go to jail. You harvest illegal criminals, you should go to jail. It's not rocket science. You break the law, you go to jail. Border Czar Thomas Homan has made that very evident, and he will continue to make that evident for a long time. I can tell you that the border crossings have significantly gone down under President Trump. Illegal criminals are getting the hell out of our country in the hundreds and thousands. There's going to be millions soon. It's a big job, but I know Thomas Homan, and he ain't messing around. But again, Democrats, you have to ask yourselves, why is your whole party imploding? Why do you not have a leg to stand on anymore? Could it be that your messaging sucks? Could it be that you personally suck? Could it be that you're pushing these socialist morons, these idiots, as the heads of your party? That you're fighting oligarchy, which you don't even know what that is? Your party needs a damn makeover. If the election was held today, President Trump will win again in a landslide. House of Representatives would win a landslide, so would the U.S. Senate. Republican. It would be Republican trifecta across the board. You have no message. You have no clout. You have no leg to stand on. Stop fighting and combating President Trump and his cabinet, and start acting like mature adults, and stop acting like babies. Stop acting like you know it all when you know nothing. They say the person who talks the most knows the least. And Chuck Schumer, you talk too damn much. And Bernie Sanders and AOC, you both talk too damn much too. You need to do this with your mouth and listen. Listening is a very important tool in life. Most people are successful because they shut their mouth and they listen. When President Trump had that huge cabinet meeting, he sat back and listened to each cabinet member give a summary of what's going on in their department. He didn't say anything. He didn't interrupt them. He sat there and he listened. President Trump is a phenomenal listener. He'll interrupt when needs be. He'll get his 2 words in when he needs be. But when it comes to important things, our country, listening to the cabinet members, he sits back and listens. That's what these Democrats need to do. They need to do more of this and less of this. Maybe they'd get a little bit of clout back. But going to El Salvador is not the answer. Going to Guatemala is not the answer. Having protests to fight oligarchy is not the answer. Combating President Trump and Elon Musk is not the answer. So stop. Stop doing this. Stop thinking that that is the answer, because it's not. Well, coming up after the break, we have a repeated guest, a great guest, my good friend, Alison Reedy. She's going to talk more about what's been going on with her son. And also she's going to talk about her experience at the Trump rally in Michigan. And Alison Reedy will be with us right after the break. Hi, I'm Alexandra Levine. I'm a professional opera singer, actress, TV, and radio. Oh my God, they came back on way too fast. Hey, sorry, I was taking a Tylenol. Can we play that? We're gonna play that commercial right back. Alison Reedy will be with us right after the break. Let's play my promo for my consulting firm. Let's play it. Well, we're gonna play another commercial, and we will be right back with Alison Reedy. And hey guys, as you know, we're having a repeated guest back, Alison Reedy. That was our promo for our new show coming up, The Pulse. That'll be Wednesday nights at 8 p.m. Our first show will be on May 14th, and we'll talk about that later in the program. But as you can see with our first slide, Alison Reedy happened to be at President Trump's big rally in Michigan. That was on April 29th. That was President Trump's first 100 days. And we're going to bring Alison Reedy right back up. We loved having her the first time. Yay! She's here.
Hello.
Hey.
Thank you for having me back.
You look great. You look great in that picture. You look great right now.
Thank you. My Trump hat with the presidential seal.
I love it. So, Alison, tell us about that day. Tell us your experience at the Trump rally.
It was one of the most remarkable experiences I've ever had in my life, besides getting married and having my children. I'm a huge Trump supporter. I always have been since day one. He's a phenomenal leader, and just to be there in the crowd, it was just so electrifying. It was amazing.
That's awesome. And was this your first Trump rally that you've ever been to?
This was my first Trump rally. Yeah. Unfortunately, I did not go to the other ones. And, you know, at the time I was a little frightened because of the backlash that a lot of the Trump supporters were enduring. But this one, I was like, balls to the wall, I'm going. Nobody's going to keep me from this one. I was so excited.
And also being there, you know, I've been to many of his rallies. I feel like I'm his best friend. I feel like I've known him for 20 years. I feel like he doesn't talk above me or below me or beneath me. I feel like he's right at my level. Tell us that experience.
Yeah, I mean, one of the awesome things that he says was he's not for Wall Street. He's for Main Street. He's for the middle class. And, you know, you could just tell by his speech that he definitely cares about we the people. And he did amazing. He looked like he was in phenomenal shape. He did his little dance. It was really
I saw
awesome.
that your son was there. What was your son's experience?
No, so that was actually not my son. That was a friend that I met from what was that one? America's what was it? APF. It's like America's Forced Prosperity. And he was actually riding the bus, and I was like, "No, you're not. You're going to get in my car. We're going to go together."
Oh, okay.
So, yeah, I could just met him that day.
Cool.
And he is a huge Trump supporter.
I was going to say, being at those rallies, you meet so many people, and they become your friends for years and years and years, which is awesome.
So there was actually a breakfast before we went to the rally, so that was pretty awesome.
Great, awesome. So,
yeah.
Continuing on, you know, with your son, now that I mentioned him, tell us a little bit what's going on since we last talked.
Yeah, I mean, really, we're just in the Sixth Circuit Court of Appeals. We're going to be writing our brief really soon. We're meeting with our lawyer Sunday to go over the brief, and it's going to be submitted. And then the judges will be assigned 3 judges, and they will decide whether or not they're going to turn over the government immunity for the school that is responsible, which is Huron Township in New Boston, Michigan, and the Huron Township Police Department, and Kim Worthy, the state prosecutor who was maliciously prosecuting my son.
Now, you said that, or you showed me a false article that was written from the Free Speech Center, and you also showed me the public reaction to the false narrative. Can you tell my audience a little bit about that Free Speech Center, that article, what was written and what was the false narrative of that article?
Yeah, I mean, it really sucks because if I don't track these things down, it's like my name is just being slandered out there for something that my son did not do. So basically, when the judge decided to give them government immunity, they wrote on their free speech page the false narrative about what my son did not say. And I had to get a hold of them and sent right. And I started sending him some of the court transcripts, and he actually apologized and he took it down and said, "I'm sorry, I did the investigation. I see that your son was exonerated." I mean, it's like if you don't threaten to sue these people, they don't try to, clear your name, so to speak. So it just really sucks. And I really have PSPD. I can't Google it. I can't, track down everything that has my name on it. I am a realtor, so it's definitely something that is, attached to me, affecting my business, affecting my family, affecting our reputation. And really, we're just like this little wholesome middle-class Christian family that goes to church twice a week. We definitely didn't ask for this, but I'm definitely going to fight. I'm going to fight for change is what we're doing, because if this can happen to my son, this can happen to anybody's son, anybody's child.
I agree. Now, has your son been going to school still? What has?
Yeah, Oh, I'm sorry. Finish what you were saying.
I was going to say, was your son able to go to prom? Did he have prom yet in Michigan?
So he's going to be graduating in May, the end of May. Unfortunately, he doesn't want to go to prom. He doesn't have any friends. Obviously there's rumors that still go around, and he just hasn't been able to really connect with anybody. So he's decided he's not going to go to prom, but he is excited about graduating. This is the reason that I fight this cute little boy right here who was 100% innocent. And he, I do believe that him being a Christian played a huge role. I also believe the assignment where they were teaching that Christians worship Allah played a huge role, and basically just weaponizing the judicial system against my child.
Now, I talked about earlier, I told a personal story about myself. I was very bullied in school, in high school, for discussing my views about Israel, for combating the teachers that were spewing out the propaganda against Israel. Has the teachers itself, have they helped your son in any way? Have they maybe told him to go to a guidance counselor? Have they been kind of a guidance counselor for him? Has any teacher come out and have been in support of your son and what's going on?
I don't think so. So he wasn't able to go to the superintendent dinner because his grades from 9th grade affected his cumulative grade. And because of that, he did not qualify for the superintendent dinner. I actually reached out to him. I said, "Look, my son is going through this really hard time. This means a lot to him. Can he please, I'll pay for it. Can he please just go?" And they said, unfortunately not. So, I mean, there hasn't been anything. We haven't had a state representative reach out to us for the wrongful injustice that happened to our family. When my son was exonerated, the media was crickets. So they had no problem publicly humiliating us, before, but when he was found not guilty, nothing.
That's unbelievable. That is unbelievable. And I believe that those type of teachers, and again, my mother's a teacher, those type of teachers that see that their student is suffering, regardless of the situation, the fact that, they I'm sure they knew about the case, they knew he was found not guilty, but even before that, they should have been a comforting guidance to him. And I believe that those teachers.
I'm really not sure if all of his teachers know what he's been through. I can't say for sure that they have. I know the principal does and the superintendent does, but I can't say for sure that the teachers do.
Well, if they don't, then they should, because again, this was, this was a story. I mean, people knew about the story. I mean, I knew it through you, but I was reading media outlets about it as well. I mean, it was in the news. And I mean, in my opinion, any teacher that, sees that a student is suffering or something's going on should pull that student aside, should try to have some type of comfort for the student, or at least call you and have a conversation with you, or even come to your home. My mother used to come to her students' houses, and she used to do that. I don't think a lot of teachers do that anymore. The superintendent should be held accountable. The principal should be held accountable for these things that have happened.
I do agree. Unfortunately, he's just been coasting is the best word that I could use to describe for him, but he did get his grades back up. In ninth grade, when all of this happened, they expelled him in a bias hearing, and he had to go on to online schooling, which he was very upset about. His screen was so small. It was like an 8x10. He would get headaches. He would cry. He would be on his computer from 8 to 9 at night, and he ended up getting all D's. So, I mean, that just shows you the failure of online schooling as well.
That's insane. Now, talking about lawmakers, we talked about this congressman. I think Shiri Thonadar. I don't even know how to pronounce it.
You know what? I saved this picture for you because I thought you would just think it is the best. It's comical. So this is the guy who wants to try and, can you see it? He's standing with a bunch of furries. Remember the furries?
Oh my God, he's crazy.
We had to have litter boxes in our school to accommodate furries.
Oh my God, he's crazy.
This is Shree. This is the guy who wants to try to come up against our leader. Isn't that?
And you know a lot about him. I mean, you were the one that showed me his picture, and at first I thought it was a woman. I'm like, what is this?
No, he's in our area. He's in our area. He's very, very left-wing loony. He's about as loony as they come. Like you said, he had actually been exposed for abusing animals and leaving them in a warehouse. I mean, he's the bottom of the barrel. So and he's also in $800,000 of campaign debt. So he's really got this mindset that he's going to get these donors, after he has these impeachment articles, and that people are going to jump on his bandwagon, and he's going to get out of debt. His motive.
Now, do you know anyone in the area that has talked about maybe running against him, primarying him out, or running as a Republican against him?
I do not. No. Yeah. I'm not 100. I'm not really that political. I mean, I know that I love my country and I could get more involved, but I'm really a family person. We do everything together, and that's my main focus right now. I have one graduating. I have one graduating next year. I'm about to be a grandma in September.
I can't believe that.
I'm really just kind of family focused.
But let me ask you, because we were speaking about the illegal MS-13 gang member Kilmar, and how these Democratic senators, or the senator Chris Van Hollen, used taxpayer dollars to go over there to try to bring Mr. Garcia back. And then you have other congressmen and women that tried to use, again, taxpayer dollars to go over there. Thank God for James Connor, sorry, the head of the appropriations, who said no. He's like, you want to go to El Salvador? It's going to be on your dime, not on the taxpayer dimes. But what do you think about that? Because I know that Congressman Cheroux hasn't been over there, but I'm sure he would love to be over there. What is your opinion of all these Democrat congressmen, these lawmakers that aren't listening to we the people, the constituents, and going over there and trying to use taxpayer dollars to go over there to bring back this illegal MS-13 gang member?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely think they need to hang up their hat. They're not working for the American people. They're working against what the American people want. We do not want these illegal aliens in our country. We need to be able to track them and just look at what they've done. We have all these innocent lives that have been lost from these illegal immigrants. Why is this even a discussion? Why are the Jews still being persecuted in college? Why is this happening? Why is this being allowed? This is like modern day genocide when it comes to the Jews, and the world is entirely too quiet about it.
I agree. Now your son is going to college. I'm sure you vetted the type of college that you want your son to go to. I'm sure you don't want to go to a very liberal college where they're going to, have pro-Hamas rallies all over the place and hurt innocent Jews and Christians. Is that correct?
No, I mean, I've definitely vetted the one he wants to go to, which is the Newmont College. It's a computer science in Utah. It's the only college he wants to go to. If he doesn't go there, unfortunately, he's not going to go to college. So that is also why I set a GoFundMe up for him so that he could try to get some funds to go to that college. But it's insane that these parents pay so much money for these kids to go to college, and they have to be in the middle of all of this, that they have to be discriminated against, and that it's even a question if we're going to allow this to happen. No, we shouldn't be allowing this to happen. First of all, you know, when it comes to Islam, they don't want to coexist. They want to conquer. You know, they want to eradicate the Jews. And when they're done with the Jews, they want to come for the Christians.
And I just, go ahead. No, continue. Finish your point.
It shouldn't even be a question whether or not we're going to allow this in the United States of America.
Yeah, I completely 100% agree with you. On our screen, we do have your son's college fund up there, his GoFundMe, Dylan College Fund After Adversity. I know your family, I think I'm looking at the goal. Is it $5,500? Is that correct?
So the way that GoFundMe is set up, you just kind of set a goal. I think I set it up for $7,500 originally because I needed to hire another lawyer. And then they just give you a portion. I think you have to change it or something. When people start donating, it will go up or something. I'm not sure. We haven't had a lot of activity on the GoFundMe, which is really surprising because, you know, you got Carmelo Anthony, who stabs a track student in the heart and kills him. His bond is dropped from $1 million down to $250,000. This man is this teenager is out of jail. I mean, it's just insane. And his GoFundMe made almost $900,000. And here you have an innocent student who did absolutely nothing wrong being railroaded in the judicial system. And he can't even get, you know, we ended up getting $2,725. I had two people from my church who gave me a check for $1,000 each. And then I was able to get the other lawyer. We were able to file the appeal. I sold a property and I was able, because I'm a realtor, I was able to pay that lawyer off. So, I mean, we really weren't asking for money or anything, but I have been encouraged to get help for his college.
Well, I just want to say to my audience, and Damon, put back up Dylan's GoFundMe. Thank you. I encourage my audience and others to go to GoFundMe, to donate to this young man, to give him a chance to excel. And because he is our next generation. I also challenge the people that donated to Carmelo Anthony and Kilmar Garcia and all these pro-Hamas rallies. They've donated $2,000, $10,000, $50,000, whatever. Donate to Dylan. Let's see it. Let's see if you will donate to Dylan's college fund. Let's see it. You have all this money to give to an illegal immigrant, terrorist from a terrorist organization, a guy that stabs another guy on a track, and people that are causing havoc. I challenge you to give money to this young man, because this is where your money should be going to. Not Carmelo Anthony, not an MS-13 illegal gang member, not to pro-Hamas groups. Your money should be going to this young man because he is our next generation. And we encourage young people to go to college. You always want...
He's a very, very smart student. Like I said, he's always been a straight A student. It was only that 9th grade year that he was put on online school that he had all D's. And he was able to rise up above that and get his grades back to all A's. And, you know, they completely ruined his high school experience with these rumors and things that he just can't have a normal teenage high school experience because of what they did to him. So I personally felt like they should pay for his college, but you know, they've buckled down. They've never apologized. They are fighting this tooth and nail. We just had a mediation hearing for the appeals court, and they said, we're not giving her anything. They don't feel bad at all. They've never said sorry. I mean, it's disgusting what they've done to my child. And it says a lot about who these people are inside. There must be something so ugly inside of them that they could do this to an innocent 14-year-old child.
I agree with you. The governor should be cutting you a check. The lieutenant governor should be cutting you a check. The school board should be cutting you a check. Those are the people.
We haven't heard from anybody.
And yeah, and unfortunately, because they spew out their political bias, because they know you went to a Trump rally, because they know you support Trump, they push back, even though they know it's the right thing to do. You're living the American dream because you want your child to succeed. You want your child to be successful. Why wouldn't anybody donate to a child that wants to succeed in this world? Your son could be the next president of the United States one day. We don't know. Whatever his ambition is, this is where money should go to. It should be going to helping our young people, to helping them progress properly in the workforce, progress properly so they can get a degree and become the specific, I want to say not genre, but the specific person that they want to be, whether they want to be a doctor, a lawyer, entrepreneur, whatever. Your son may want to have a degree in that, and he can't have a degree in that.
He's definitely got his mind set up on computer science.
And that's a big thing. It's a big business.
Smart.
It's a big business.
He's done coding and things of that nature. I mean, I also wanted to mention the Facebook page, My Son on the Altar. If you want to see any of the documents, just to sort of back up everything that I've said, I have the court transcripts, statements, and things of that nature on there.
Is there any way, can people, is My Son on the Altar, is that something they can donate to on Facebook as well? Or is it just a Facebook page where, you want people to kind of, comment?
It's just like an engagement page, really. If somebody has a question they want to ask me about it, or it's also an inspirational page for myself. If I see a scripture that really touches my heart and has all my goosebumps going up with what I'm going through, I'll put it on that page. And when I'm in a depression state of mind, I'll go back and I'll look at it, and it just helps, give me hope and keeps me going and keeps me in the fight, because it hasn't been easy. I may sound and look like it's been easy, but it hasn't. I've been very much in my head some days, and you just have to revert back to the promises in the Bible that he will vindicate you. The truth will prevail. And I actually had a couple I wanted to read. So Psalms 37:6, he will make your righteous reward shine like the dawn, your vindication like the noonday. And then I have Proverbs 17:15, acquitting the guilty and condemning the innocent. The Lord detests them both. So, when you mess with a child of God, you better be careful, because when you're throwing dirt on a child of God, you're planting that child, and a beautiful flower is going to bloom. So I don't know what God is going to have come out of all this, but we've definitely been grounded in our faith through it all.
I love it. That's so beautiful. We just have a couple minutes left. Alison, tell us how we can follow you. Tell us anything else that you want my audience to know.
Yeah, God really carried us through this storm. So I just want to encourage anybody that's going through a storm, invite God in. He will take care of you. He will give you the peace that surpasses all understanding. He loves you. He knows your beginning and he knows your end. And this did not surprise God. I don't know what the ending is, but he does. And I just encourage you to pray to God and ask him to help you.
I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. And I find that the people that don't have God in their lives are the ones that are the most evil. They're the most evil. And if you don't have God,
and when they go through a battle like this, they don't know how to handle it. They look like the storm. I've had many people tell me, you don't look like you've been going through this. Okay, well, that's just a testament to God. And that's just a testament to the peace that surpasses understanding. And there have been times where I've tried to pick it back up and handle it on my own. And that's when I trip up. But when I say, you know what, Lord, this is your battle, you're going to handle this, that's when I have that.
Well, I really feel, and we talked about this last time, that, God is really on your side. You really have a lot of angels helping you, especially with your son having his guilty verdict, which was amazing, but also you being able to continue to tell the story, you going to the Trump rally, you're so involved with your child, which is amazing. You're a phenomenal mom. The way that you fight for your child every single day. I encourage more mothers and fathers to do that. We don't see that in a lot.
Yeah, if it's a war they wanted, it's a war they're going to have because they messed with the wrong mother bear.
That's right. That is very true. Well, I encourage my audience, everybody, to go on your Facebook page at My Son on the Altar, the Facebook group page. Please become a member. Please write inspirational things. And please go to Alison Reedy's GoFundMe, Dylan College Fund After Adversity. You can go to GoFundMe.com. Instead of donating to Carmelo and donating to Kilmar Garcia, donate to a child that is our next generation that is going to be great in whatever he does. He has a great family. That's where everybody's money should be going to, not to terrorists, not to murderers, not to Luigi Maggione, who murdered the CEO of United Healthcare. The money should be going to your son.
Yeah, they can even go to Newmont College and they can donate straight to Newmont College under Dylan's name as well.
Wonderful. That's wonderful.
He did try to sign up to get a scholarship. He was only awarded $5,000, unfortunately. And these were his words. There's not a lot out there for white people.
Oh. Well, Utah, it's expensive over there too. You're dealing with out-of-state tuition as well. It's very expensive.
Right.
It's very expensive.
It is. It's very expensive. It's where he wants to go, and his dreams are big. And I'm not going to bust that bubble for him.
I'm proud of you, and I'm proud of him. And we will be praying for you, and we will be praying for your family. And as always, you're always welcome back on my show anytime.
Thank you. I appreciate it. And you have a voice of an angel girl. God gave you a gift.
I try. Thank you to President Trump for getting back in the White House so I can sing again. I have the hashtag Make Alexandra Sing Again, please.
Yes, thanks for getting back in the White House and making Americans feel safe again.
That's right. That's what we need. We need to keep them there.
Yes.
We need to keep them there as long as we can.
Need to get the illegals out.
That's right. Get them out and support our young people, support your son, support the legal citizens of this country. That's what it's all about.
Trump 2028.
They're talking about it. Or Trump Jr. 2028. They're talking about that too.
Yeah, no, it was pretty fun at the rally. We all had up our 3 and everyone's chanting 3, 3, 3. It was pretty awesome.
I mean, who knows if it will happen.
Steve Miller was there speaking. That was really cool. It was just a really awesome experience. Pete Hetzek was there. It was really cool. The brick suit guy was there. I actually ended up giving him a PDF of our story. Nice. Yeah, I told him, I said, look, I'm just stepping out in faith. And he took it and we took a picture and we'll see what happens.
He's a great guy. I've known him for a long time. He has been to every single Trump rally from the beginning. He goes to all of them. He's VIP. He's always there. He wears the brick suit. That's what he's known for. That's his trademark.
That's awesome.
He's a great guy. And yeah, I hope that.
Yeah, he was very sweet and kind. He didn't look at me like I was crazy.
Yeah, that's the love that you get at a Trump rally. I have so many friends.
Yeah, I mean, I walk in the VIP. I'm not VIP. I had some kahoonies. I'm like, I am giving this to him.
No, that's good.
I mean, I would like to get it to President Trump. I would like to get the story to the White House because I do feel like they would care. It was the Christians that were walking around with targets on their back in 2021. And it was this is the classic case right here of political persecution and because of our beliefs.
Definitely. Well, I can tell you, I have mentioned your stories to Caroline Leavitt, the White House press secretary. I have.
I saw her. I tried to get a picture with her, but she had already taken like 20 pictures. So she was a little tired and she didn't come over to me, but that's okay. I still love her anyways. She's the best press secretary. She amazes me every single time she gets up there and she tells them how it is.
And I can tell you, this network will continue to push your story. We will continue to push it. As myself and the White House correspondent of this network, we will continue to push the story because it needs to be out there. It needs to be known.
Yeah, thank you. I really do appreciate it.
I appreciate it too. Thanks so much, Alison. And we will be right back after the break.
This is APN's very own White House correspondent, Alexandra Levine.
Hello, everyone. This is Alexandra Levine with Alexandra Levine Live on the America's Pulse Network. You are all in with Alexandra Levine. We are still waiting for someone from the White House to come out and tell us what transpired between President Trump and Vladimir Putin on that call today. We are here live at the White House. We're waiting for White House Press Secretary Caroline Leavitt to come out and tell us about the updates of today, the call between President Trump and Vladimir Putin, what transpired in that call.
Subscribe and follow America's Pulse Network on the above social medias.
Hey everyone, we're back. I'm Alexandra Levine live with the America's Pulse Network. Again, we had a repeated guest, my good friend Alison Reedy. Please go to her Facebook page, My Son at the Altar, and please go to her GoFundMe with her son, Dylan College Fund After Atrocity. Also, if you go to Newmont College's website, which is where Dylan wants to go to school, it's in Utah, you can actually personally donate to the school and say this money is going towards Dylan so he can come to your school and get a great education. Alison is a wonderful woman. She fights for her son every single day. He was falsely accused of being a domestic terrorist at the school, which is ridiculous, and he was found not guilty. Thank God. We say that by the grace of God, he was found not guilty. And we just want her son. We want her son to thrive. We want her son to have a wonderful career and a wonderful life. And this money will help him. Whatever you can donate, whether it's $5, $10, $1,000. Again, the people that donate to Luigi Maggione and Carmelo and Kilmar Garcia, I think you have some $1,000 to donate to a nice young man who wants to live the American dream. And it's about living the American dream. So please go to the GoFundMe Dylan College Fund After Adversity, and you can go to Newmont College and donate to him as well. Again, the subject of this 2-hour show is President Trump's 100 days and everything that he has accomplished. And again, I'm the White House correspondent for this network. I'm part of the new conservative media at the White House. I'm at White House briefing rooms with Caroline Leavitt, White House Lawn with President Trump, and so forth. We are not fake news. We are not the mainstream media. We will always report fairly and honestly. But I can tell you, Stephen Miller had a hell of a press conference today and yesterday. He is constantly there letting the White House know, the White House press team and the White House know what's going on behind the scenes. As you know, Stephen Miller is the Deputy Chief of Staff, but he also is part of the Combating Antisemitism Task Force and also combating illegal immigration. Stephen Miller knows the law. He knows it like no other. He is part of the America's First Policy, which is a huge law group and a big law firm. You cannot combat him on illegal immigration. You cannot combat him on the rule of law. And these mainstream media morons, the CNNs of the world, the ABC, NBCs of the world, the Washington Post, the Washington Post, the New York Times, these fake news media outlets, they continuously praise this Kilmar Abrego Garcia, this illegal MS-13 gang member. This ABC news anchor had the audacity to interview President Trump, and he was just combative the entire time. And President Trump's like, you guys are fake news. He's like, the only reason I called upon you to do this interview is because no one's ever heard of you. I've never really heard of you, Terry. This guy's name's Terry. I think I've seen him once or twice. And the guy, Terry, was so disrespectful to the president. The president's like, I don't even know if we're going to finish this interview because everything was just so combative. Terry had the audacity to call the president a liar and say that the photo that he showed, which literally had the tattoos of MS-13 on Mr. Garcia's hand, was, quote, photoshopped. I mean, that's crazy. You're literally accusing the president of the United States of being a liar. Like, this is crazy. And then, he says to the president, well, I know about this at the State Department, I know that about the State Department, blah, blah. And he's like, how do you know? How do you know? How do you know the things that I know? What the hell? Oh, leaking? There's leakers? There's still leakers in the State Department. There's still leakers in the FBI, DNI, CIA, that Kash Patel and Tulsi Gabbard and Pam Bondi and so forth are trying to weed those people out. As you know, at the Pentagon, the people that were working directly under Pete Hegseth were all leakers, and they were all fired. Thank God. Thank God they weren't in there that long. You continue to leak, you will get fired. You leak things to the press, classified information to the press, you will get fired. It's simple, or you will be removed and you'll be sent somewhere else, a different department. President Trump's not having it. He's not having it. And then the reporter says to President Trump, are you 100% certain of this? Do you have 100% certainty of this? He's like, nothing's 100%. Nobody have 100% certainty. Nobody's perfect. Nothing's perfect. I mean, 100% certainty. That's a crazy, stupid question. I mean, President Trump is dealing with the stupidity of this man. I feel for President Trump in this interview. I would never give an interview like that. You do not go see the President of the United States and combat him and try to hurt him and try to undermine him and try to twist his words and push out false narratives and propaganda. It is an honor above and beyond to interview President Trump. I hope one day I get the chance to interview President Trump, that our network gets the chance to interview President Trump, because we will ask him questions that will not be combative. We'll ask him questions based on the facts. My job as a reporter is not to combat the president of the United States, and especially because I'm the new conservative me at the White House, I will always ask fair and honest questions to the president. And I will not interrupt him, and I will not buck him. It is disrespectful and it's rude. It is an honor. It is an honor to interview the president of the United States. And that anchor guy at NBC, and I know he's paid to do this, but he took the opportunity to be a real ass and disrespect President Trump. Disgusting decorum from the mainstream media. They covered more about Kilmar Garcia than Rachel Warren, who was brutally murdered by an illegal immigrant. And Tammy Nobles' daughter, her daughter was brutally raped by an MS-13 gang member from El Salvador. Barely any coverage of it. Lincoln Riley, barely any coverage on the mainstream media. Jocelyn, barely any coverage. Kate Steinle, barely any coverage. Excuse me. Any coverage? No coverage. But they covered this illegal MS-13 gang member for days and days, and they're still covering it. I mean, do they want Stephen Miller to lie to them about what the law is? Is that what they want? They're trying to catch him, a gotcha question? There's just no gotcha questions for Stephen Miller. Again, he knows better. He knows more than all these idiots. He had to educate them on the difference between deporting and illegal and illegal. It's sick that the mainstream media doesn't do their homework. They're lazy. They don't do their homework and they don't do their research. They just blatantly say, Stephen Miller, you're a liar. President Trump's a liar. This person's a liar. That's all they say. They're opinion pieces. They're mouthpieces. It's sick and it's sad. It's very sick and it's very sad. And we have the first slide from my friend, Stephen Miller. He says, ad POTUS. Let's put that up there. Ad POTUS. White House has forced brilliantly these outlets to acknowledge these crimes, to acknowledge these atrocities by putting these mugshots of their criminal histories right behind them as they stand there and do their shots every single day. And we're going to keep forcing the media to cover the atrocities committed by the illegal aliens that Joe Biden and the Democrat Party have brought into our country. You heard it. He says we're going to keep forcing the media, the fake news media, to cover the atrocities committed by the illegal aliens that Joe Biden and the Democrat Party have brought into our country. And then this was on Sean Hannity. It showed a list of President Trump's accomplishments. Again, as I said earlier in the show, designated English as an official language. So that's what Stephen Miller is going to do. He's going to push the mainstream media to recognize that President Trump is removing all of these illegal criminals out of our country. He's going to push the mainstream media to recognize that Kilmar Abrego Garcia is an illegal MS-13 gang member. He is back in his country of El Salvador. The El Salvadorian president, Bukele, is not bringing him illegally back into this country to cause more havoc. His wife, his crazy wife, who's now collecting $400,000, $500,000, $600,000 on her GoFundMe. His crazy wife, Jessica. He's going to continue to make the mainstream media report that his wife wrote a temporary protective order, got a temporary protective order against him because he was punching her. He was hitting her. She was in fear of her life. He might have abused their son too. Who knows? Why does she want him back in this country so badly? Who is buying and paying her off? And where is that money going to? Is that really going to her? Who's that? Or is that going to the gang members? There's too many MS-13 gang members here in the state of Maryland. And that's because of governors in this state that have allowed it to happen. And because of Joe Biden as well. It's time to say goodbye, guys. It's time to say goodbye to these illegal criminals. What are they doing for you? Why are these damn Democrats so fixated on keeping these illegal criminals here? It's disgusting. Democrats, when illegal criminals came in here and they all had COVID, they gave them ivermectin, they gave them hydroxychloroquine. An American citizen like myself got COVID for a month, couldn't get ivermectin, couldn't get hydroxychloroquine. I had to pay outside doctors to get me the stuff. I had to pay a nurse to come to my hotel room and administer the monoclonal antibody treatment for me. I had to pay her over $300 out of my own pocket when it's normally free. Joe Biden actually closed and canceled monoclonal antibody treatment centers all over the nation. My governor, Ron DeSantis, he opened up monoclonal antibody treatments during COVID. I worked in the COVID ward with him. I made sure that people in Florida got the monoclonal antibody treatment if they needed it. But under Joe Biden, my governor had to close those centers down because there wasn't enough Regeneron to go around. That's what Democrats do. They're killing innocent people, innocent citizens, and they're catering to illegals. What the hell? Why is this happening? When did this narrative start? It's disgusting. It's completely disgusting and asinine. Again, people need to stop voting Democrat. Democrats need to hashtag leave the party. Moderate Democrats, I know, are going to be leaving the party. They've had enough. Because if you're a Democrat and you're sitting there allowing AOC and Bernie Sanders to control your party, you're insane. You're a Democrat and you're going to allow Hakeem Jeffries to be the Speaker of the House? You're insane. No way. Hakeem Jeffries is an anti-Semite. Hakeem Jeffries is a socialist. Hakeem Jeffries is not who you want as Speaker of the House. I can tell you that. He wants to raise your taxes. He loves illegals. He loves this pro-Hamas crap going on college campuses. He takes a knee for the national anthem when he should be standing up and he should be proud of America. A lot of these damn Democrats aren't proud of America. They want to flood our country with illegals. Not cool. Not cool at all. And the American people are waking up and seeing it. That's why we had a big influx of Democrats and independents that voted for President Trump in November. That's why we're seeing a lot of Democrats and independents that are starting to vote Republican. We see a lot more moderate Democrats that are trying to primary out these socialist Democrats. We see a lot of moderate Democrats voting out these rhinos. They don't want rhinos in the parties, in the Republican Party either. We are taking our country back. President Trump is leading the charge. Combating him is the dumbest thing to do. The dumbest. And what did I do on Trump's 100 days? I went to an event. It was supposed to be at the Kennedy Center. Unfortunately, due to circumstances, it had to be moved. And it was moved to a place called the Top of the Town, which is a beautiful, beautiful high-rise restaurant. It was like at the 12th floor. I call it the Penthouse in Arlington, Virginia, with our friend Alison McMillan. Remember her? We had her on the show. Let's put up a slide of her. And she was wearing a red MAGA hat. There she is. Alison McMillan, she put that whole event together. She was the host. And you know what the sad part was? That people were calling her like the day of, trying to figure out who she was, what organization she was affiliated with, and if the event was good enough for them or if it was beneficial for them. The event was about celebrating Trump's 100 days. Who cares who's hosting the event? You had two choices that day. You could have gone to her event. You could have gone to Trump's rally or President Trump's rally in Michigan. Those were the two options that night. Or you could have had your own party if you wanted to. But this girl put this event together on her own. She had to scramble to find a venue at the last minute. And I'd been there because I put events together. I felt so bad for her. But she had a great crowd there. She filled up the room. She had two other media people there. She had a Canadian media outlet there, and a guy that works for the Daily Caller that has a puppet with him. And it was very entertaining. She had a great DJ there, and the food was great. She had rice, she had vegetables, she had desserts, she had chicken, she had fish. It was a really great ambiance, and I met some really great people. But for people that were just going there to get ahead or to better themselves or to be limelighters, that's not what this event was about. And for people that didn't go because Alicia wasn't a part of the Trump administration, or she wasn't the head of the events coordination, or she wasn't Alicia McMillan, President Trump's coordinator, or whatever, that's dumb. She's a good person. What she did was a mitzvah, which in Hebrew means a good deed. She will be written in the history books for celebrating Trump's 100 days. She will be written in the history books for what she did. The people that didn't show up, they're the losers. They're the ones that nobody will hear about. They'll come and go like Michelangelo. When I put events together, people are like, oh, what organization are you with? Sometimes I say it's sponsored by my family's organization. Sometimes I say sponsored by this organization. Sometimes I just say it's just sponsored by me. Why do I have to have a big title underneath my name for you to come to one of my events? Why does anybody have to have a big title underneath their name for you to come to their events? Like I said, she accommodated every one of us that night. Every one of us. She had a guy there that actually was a photographer for President Trump. He took the famous pictures at Butler, when President Trump got his ear shot, but the second rally at Butler with Elon Musk. And the photographer has met President Trump, took a picture with President Trump. They also had signs like Democrats for Trump. We'll put up that slide. And again, the view was gorgeous. The view was beautiful. There it is, Democrats for Trump. They had all those posters all over the place, but the view was the view of the Pentagon, the view of the Washington Monument, the Jefferson Monument, the Lincoln Memorial. If you ever want to do an event, I would do it at this place, the top of the town. And I'm working with a wonderful woman named Suzanne. She's a full-timer at the top of the town. Suzanne Tanley. She's phenomenal, great woman. And she really helped put a lot of it together as well. And she was on top of it. And she's very accommodating as well. But again, what Alicia had to go through by originally having it at the Kennedy Center, people buying tickets for the Kennedy Center, and then she had to flip literally less than a week before the event to top of the town. That's stress in itself. And for people to not come just because she didn't have a big title at the end of her name, that's disgusting. That's really disgusting. People should have come because they wanted to celebrate President Trump's 100 days, not because of who was there or Alicia's title or whatever. But I had the opportunity to sing. Alicia gave me that platform. I sang the national anthem, which I've been singing for years. Again, due to COVID and the woke culture, my opera career has been cut. It's not cut short and it's not cut completely. I'm going back into the arena. I'm going back into the ring. Thanks to President Trump being the chairperson of the Kennedy Center and my friend Rick Grinnell as the executive director, I will be back at the Kennedy Center performing. I will be back at a lot of opera houses worldwide where I have a lot of name recognition and I learned to sing with some of the greats. Before COVID, I was singing Donna Elvira in the opera Don Giovanni by Mozart at a castle in Florence called Castiglione del Lago in Florence. It's literally an amphitheater inside a castle. It's all open. And I got to sing. I got to sing in the rain because it rained that night. I even got to sing in the dark because the lights weren't working. But it was a beautiful experience. I missed that experience. I got to sing in Jerusalem, Israel. I got to sing in Tel Aviv, Israel. I got to sing in Spain. I got to sing in Germany, in Vienna, in France. I got to sing in all these beautiful areas. I got to sing in Budapest, Hungary. But because of the woke culture, it killed my profession. And the fact that we as musicians and actors were forced and mandated to take 7, 8, 9, 10 jabs of the vaccine. And we couldn't go. We couldn't perform if we didn't have the vaccines. The Metropolitan Opera House would not allow me to even audition unless I was vaccinated. It's crazy. And they pay a lot. The Metropolitan Opera Chorus, they pay $100,000 just to be in the chorus. The New York City Opera closed down because of the horrible economy under Barack Hussein Obama. I mean, these are real things, guys. People lost their careers over the Democrats, over Democrat leadership. President Trump, when he was there in 2017, I got to sing again. And then COVID happened, and then Joe Biden mandated everybody to take the damn vaccines, 20 jabs, 50 jabs. He allowed private opera companies to mandate people to take the vaccines, as well as musical theater productions or musical theater companies. And I could only sing here, sing there, sing a little bit there, sing at this theater, sing for this political event, that political event. I couldn't go overseas. It was very sad, very sad. And I know a lot of singers that have had very bad side effects due to the vaccines. They can't breathe like they used to. They don't have the stamina like they used to. You have to have stamina to sing for hours. You have to be able to breathe. If you can't breathe, you can't sing. That's the whole point of singing, is you have to breathe. If you have myocarditis, brain aneurysm, strokes, how can you sing? How can you have a full, long career? Dr. Fauci and others lied to we the people about the vaccines. The fertility rate is low because of the vaccines. Young men between the ages of 18 and 39, their sperm count is low. women that have had the vaccines at young ages before premenopause or before menopause in general, and they're trying to conceive, they can't. They're having problems conceiving. These men and women that took 5, 6, 7, 8 jabs of the vaccine are having trouble conceiving. But Dr. Fauci didn't tell anybody this. Unfortunately, the people had to find that out on our own. We had to find out that AstraZeneca was one of the worst vaccines out there, COVID-19 vaccines out there. That if you took 50 shots of the mRNA, any vaccine that has mRNA, you're likely to have problems. My Surgeon General in Florida, he proved with the data that boys or young men ages 18 to 39 that took jabs of the mRNA vaccines or any vaccine that had mRNA, which is Moderna, Pfizer, AstraZeneca, you're likely to have heart attack, stroke, brain aneurysms, low sperm count. But again, nobody told us that. That's why Dr. Fauci needs to go to jail. And again, with RFK Jr. as the HHS secretary, he's pulling out all the synthetic colors and the synthetic dyes out of our food because there's a lot of crap in our food, a lot of crap. And I'm not an anti-vaccine person. RFK Jr. is not an anti-vaxxer. Just because we knew that COVID, that something wasn't right about those vaccines, that Dr. Robert Malone, who created mRNA, said you should not have any ounce of mRNA in your body, especially heavy doses of it. That doesn't make us anti-vaxxers. We're being educated. We're doing the research. We're being smart. But Joe Biden wanted us all to be guinea pigs to this vaccine. And by forcing us, saying no jab, no job, the more people that died from the vaccine, the better, the more money Dr. Fauci made. Dr. Fauci made millions off of the vaccines. That's crazy, especially for a guy whose job is, I think, less than $100,000 a year as an NHS director or whatever job he had. All of a sudden, he's a millionaire. He made money off of we the people. He made money off killing people. The more COVID deaths he had, and a lot of them were written fake. A lot of people didn't actually die from COVID. They died from other things, but they called them a COVID death. When my grandfather died, I made sure he was not considered a COVID death. That was the one thing that I wanted to do. That's the one thing that I vowed that I would never have my grandfather be a COVID death. Now, I wholeheartedly believe that my grandfather died from 2 shots of the Pfizer vaccine because my grandfather was completely healthy his entire life, never had cancer, never had issues, and all of a sudden he gets the jabs of death. He's got bilateral pneumonia. It's untreated. He can't shake the pneumonia. My grandfather never had pneumonia in his life. My grandfather's 98.5 years old. My grandfather served our nation in World War II. Could have had everything alive. All of a sudden he gets pneumonia. It's untreated. Had the vaccines in his body. It was the first time he ever got COVID too. Never had COVID before taking the jabs. And the doctors didn't want to do a damn thing to save my grandfather. I saved his life. My mother and I saved his life. My family saved his life. My governor, Ron DeSantis, saved his life as much as we could. We gave him an extra month of life to live. I didn't want him dying the way that he did. When he got back into that hospital, that was the end of him because they put fentanyl and other opioids into my grandfather's drip and remdesivir without telling my mother. If the doctors would have listened more to my mother and I, if they would have given my grandfather ivermectin, hydroxychloroquine, he would be alive today. If they would have given him a proper antibiotic like doxycycline immediately, he would be alive today. I've worked with people that have had loved ones that have died from the COVID vaccine and from untreated bilateral pneumonia. I'm not a doctor, but I saved my grandfather as much as I could. Why couldn't the doctors do the same? Doctors are there to save lives, not take lives. I hope that now we have proper doctors in there that will save lives. I hope that RFK Jr. cleans out all the BS from HHS and gets proper doctors in there. I hope that Dr. Fauci goes to jail for crimes against humanity. That's why it's so important. It's so important that President Trump is now currently in the White House, but it's also so important that we remember this first 100 days because it has been a historic 100 days. There's been a lot of action going on in the White House. He's bringing religion back into the White House. He's bringing common sense back into the White House. He's bringing back America. He's making America strong, making America great, making America wealthy again, making America happy again. He wants people to get married. He wants people to have children. He wants us to live the American dream, to succeed. What's wrong with that? But you have idiots trying to impeach President Trump for wanting our country to prosper. I want you all to just sit back and watch the next 100 days. I want you all to look back at these first 100 days. And my audience members, I want you to tell me what things that what did you love about the first 100 days? What was your favorite thing that he did so far? What would you like to see more of him do? Please, you can always write to me on our network, on Facebook. As I said, I do keep in contact with the White House press corps. I am the White House correspondent for this network. I can ask Caroline Levitt a question, any question that you guys have. If you're concerned about something, if you want President Trump to look at something, if you want him to make a statement about something, let me know. Because I'm looking forward to the next 100 days and beyond with President Trump in the White House, and you all should too. Well, this has been a great show. Again, I'm Alexandra Levine Live, the White House correspondent for this network, America's Pulse Network. Don't forget that we have another show and we have a little promo with the Jersey Shore with Damon Galdo. Damon Sherrod, he's going to show that promo right now for something that's coming up with the Jersey Shore.
But I like Spady. I like the way he talks. I like his policies. I mean, I really think Spady has a chance. And personally, I would like to see Spady win.
Freedom ain't cheap, gotta hold tight. In Jersey Shore, we'll win this fight. No more tears, just righteous pride. In the streets, our spirits reside.
So we're having a special live episode that's Damon Galdo with the Jersey Shore. Bill Spady is running for governor of New Jersey, and Damon Sherrod, our producer, is also from New Jersey. So both of them are going to be together, and Damon Galdo will be live with this event. It's going to be awesome. Don't forget to watch the Jersey Shore on our network, 8 to 10 p.m. on Mondays, as well as 8 to 10 p.m. on Saturdays. But please catch them tomorrow for this event, May 2nd. It's going to be a live event. And you can always, again, follow us at America's Pulse Network on Rumble, at America's Pulse Network on X. We're going to be on Facebook coming up soon at America's Pulse Network. And also, don't forget to follow me, Alexandra Levine, on Facebook, at Alexandra Levine 20 on X, at Alexandra Levine on Rumble, at AR Levine 85 on Truth Social, at AR Levine 85 on Instagram, at Levine Consulting on YouTube. And don't forget, we are having a new show. It's going to be an awesome show. We're going to have myself, Seth Eisenberg, and Damon Galdo, as well as two surprise guests that will be in rotation. It'll be starting May 14th, Wednesday night from 8 to 9 p.m. We have a little promo for that I'd like our audience to see. Let's show the promo for that. And that's going to be an awesome, awesome show. And you're going to see a very different setup. than what we normally do here. And we are just adding more shows, adding more podcasts as we go. If you're interested in being a part of our network, having your own podcast in our network, you can always reach out to us on Rumble. You can reach out to us on X. You can reach out to me personally on my X at Alexandra Levine 20 and my Facebook. You can also go to our website at americaspulsenetwork.com, and you can sign up to be a part of our network. And our network is just consistently growing. We have done so well from March until now. And it has just been amazing. It's just amazing things have happened on our network. And of course, we have our friend Seth Eisenberg from the Conservative Corner. He is coming back on Sundays at 7 p.m. We have his GoFundMe as well. We are advertising. Yes, you can always go again on GoFundMe, help Jonah Eisenberg overcome health crisis. So far, he's raised $5,626. We should have that slide up. But so, like I said, so far he has raised $5,626, and the goal is $25,000. Please, guys, please, again, if you're giving to Carmelo Anthony, Luigi Mangione, all these other people, you can give a little bit to Seth. There's no reason why Seth can't make his goal as easily as Carmelo and Gilmar Garcia did. The final goal is, of course, $100,000. As you know, poor Seth, unfortunately, he had a very bad infection. There we go. Help Jonah Eisenberg overcome health crisis, $5,626 raised. Unfortunately, as you know, our poor friend Seth, he had a very bad infection in his foot. He had to get 5 surgeries. They almost cut off his foot. The infection got so deep, you could see the bone. The infection actually got to the bone of his foot. He had to be in the hospital for 33 days. He had to go to the VA hospital. I mean, he's been in 2 hospitals, or he went to 2 hospitals. Now he's finally at home. His white blood cell count has gone up, but so far, so good. He hasn't been back into the hospital. We pray he doesn't go back into the hospital, but he hasn't been able to work. And he is a veteran. He served our Navy. We need to give back to him. Again, the goal is $25,000, but the ultimate goal is $100,000. We really want people to donate. Again, $50, $100. I'll be honest with you, the average donation has been between $100 and $150. I think we all can do it, guys. I think we all can raise this money for Seth, so he can be up and running. He has a mortgage to pay. He has a child he supports. And again, he is a great patriot to this nation. He's used to going out, doing events, putting events together. He's done a lot of rallies for me in regards to combating anti-Semitism and supporting Israel. We need to give back to him. So please, guys, go to his GoFundMe. Help Jonah Eisenberg overcome health crisis. Again, a little goes a long way. Please help him out. We really appreciate it. And again, this has been a great 2 hours. Don't forget to follow us again on our social media platforms, again on Rumble, on X, at America's Pulse Network. Again, don't forget to follow me at X, at Alexandra Levine, Levi 20, Facebook, at Alexandra Levine. And don't forget to go on my website if you ever want to hear me sing, alexandra-levine.com, alexandra-levine.com. That's my personal opera website. You can see the productions that I've done. You can hear me sing. You can look at my bio, my repertoire. It's a little outdated. I do need to update it a little bit, but you can still get to hear me sing from when I was a mezzo to a soprano. And don't forget that I actually own my own political consulting firm, levineconsulting.co. That's levineconsulting.co. Please book a consultation with me today if you are a serious candidate, seriously thinking about running. As you know, we're up with elections right now in Virginia and New Jersey, as well as gubernatorial races. Congressional races always happening. Senatorial races always happening. It's never too early to start. If you're running for a big office, you should start raising money now. You can do exploratory committees as well. But please, guys, everybody needs guidance. Everybody needs advice on how to run. You don't need to take a class. You just reach out to me and I will help you. So again, go to levineconsulting.co. That's levineconsulting.co and book a consultation with me today. Again, this has been a great 2 hours live with Alexandra Levine. I'm Alexandra Levine. It's a pleasure. And the reason you listen and the reason you watch is you are no idiot.
Mainstream media is bought and paid for. The truth is twisted to fit their agenda. But America is waking up because podcasts are the future for trusted media. Welcome to the America's Pulse Network. It is a network built by patriots that upholds the Constitution. The America's Pulse Network stands for God, truth, and the America First movement. There is no corporate propaganda, no government spin, just real news, real talk, and real voices fighting for faith, freedom, and the future of this great nation with common sense. Here are some of America's Pulse Network podcasts. Alexandra Levine Live, hosted by Alexandra Levine. Jersey Shore Podcast, hosted by Damon Galdo. The Conservative Corner, hosted by Seth Eisenberg. APN's The Pulse, hosted by Alexandra, Damon, and Seth. So tune into America's Pulse Network on the following social media platforms: X/Twitter, Rumble, Truth Social, Facebook, and YouTube. Join the revolution. Because the pulse of America beats for God and country. America's Pulse Network is for faith, family, freedom, and truth.